Welcome to Resilient Love Podcast.
Join hosts Quentin and Brianna as they discuss tips on love, life, and
business.
Let's get into this next episode. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
We're back. So this episode, we're very excited because we're talking about changing the narrative, okay? The Black narrative. And we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Miss Marilyn, and I'm going to give you a little background on her. She is a wife, unschooling mother of 3, and she's a cognitive behavioral specialist and transformational motherhood coach. So shout out to all the mothers out there. This one is truly for you. She's committed to changing the narrative on Black motherhood and family through her work. Marilyn is passionate about Black mothers, helping them to tell their story, finding freedom, and overall the overwhelming disruption of the limiting belief and social stigma through mastering their mindset, and also healing through their relationships. We all need that. We need that empowerment. We need that boost. So I'm not going to give any extra because I want her to tell you too. Welcome, Miss Marilyn.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and let Quentin jump right into it.
So I'm going to jump right on
Get
in.
right on into it.
All right. So we love your business and mission of developing the peaceful Black mama.
Mm-hmm.
But let's take it back to the unrest. Let's talk about your thoughts on the present narrative of the Black mother.
Okay. Well, I think we can all kind of, take a guess at what the current narrative is. It's a narrative is the narrative is one of dysfunction. Just looking at how the media presents us. We're angry, lazy, we're violent. Essentially, we're the work mules of the world, and we neglect our families, and we're welfare queens, and we love to be single mothers / baby mamas. That's just what we represent, and that's so untrue for the majority of us. But so much of that has been ingrained into our psyches as a community, as a culture, and then just collectively and into society's psyche. And in some ways we start to own it and make it true in some form in our own lives, and that's my goal is to disrupt that, because if you look historically, we were the nannies and the wet nurses of the world when our people were not free. So there's a reason why we were chosen for that, because we have such an inherent nurturing ability. A lot of that in this present climate has been, again, like I said, it has been pressed. The stress has kind of taken that away from some of us, and some of us have adopted what the dominant culture wants to impress upon us about who we are, and it's not true. And so, like I said, that is what I'm here to really disrupt and bring us back to ourselves and who we really are.
Exactly. And I can talk about my Black mama, and I'm sure he can talk about his Black mama. And they have really established the foundation of us. You know what I mean? Like the Black mother, as you said, is the pillar of the family to me. And of course, we don't neglect the fathers, but we're talking about mamas today. Exactly. And the reality is the mother is the one who births life. So that one is also the pillar to me. So I think that in that thought process, in that thinking, I want to also take it to the next level, because we can talk about these narratives, but we got to first start with ourselves. So when you talk about changing the narrative, what did Marilyn have to change in order to be a peaceful Black mom?
First and foremost, I had to change my mindset about everything that I just spoke on. I had to change the story that I had been made to believe about who I am and who we all are, and in relationship to the world and to each other. Because there's, this, I grew up in a way, and again, going back to what you said, I know my relationship with my mother, she was like, if you want to talk about nurturing and love and just, being
Yes.
all in as a mother, that's who my mother was. And that's what I learned. But as I came up outside of her, I started seeing, this, that narrative play out of who I saw my sister as,
Mm,
meaning my Black sisters out in the world,
mhm.
being one of those people, or being encouraged to be one of the people who said, okay, yeah, I keep y'all at an arm's reach, you know what I mean? Keep y'all at
Right.
a distance
Right.
and everything, because of who I had been learning early in life, going through high school and college, about who they were supposed to be, and who, and I say they because that's what I saw them as at the time, or I saw
Yeah.
my sisters as at the time. But now I know understand that it's we. So that mindset had to change, and I had to take responsibility for the change and let go of responsibility for anyone else's happiness or
Mm,
their perceptions, about me personally, because living my life my own way, and being, especially in this space, being unapologetically focused on the Black experience, has exposed me to a lot of criticism, So
yeah.
I had to give up on, not in a negative way, but in an empowering way, give up being responsible for other people's perceptions about me and my intentions and who I am. And just about Black mothers in general. And I learned to ask for what I need, because that's what I think that a lot of us have learned
Mm-hmm.
along the way. It's that somehow we're supposed to be these super women who just do it all
Right.
and take on all the burdens and everything. That's why I said that we're like the work mules. We take on all the responsibilities of the world on our shoulders, and that's not something that you have to do. We don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to do it all. It doesn't make you any less. And at the same time, learn to have strong boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to create space for my own dreams. And most importantly, I think I had to learn to live life not in spite of being a mother, in
Mm-hmm.
spite of motherhood, but because of motherhood and to its glory. And that's the
And
space that I had to operate from. So that was one of the big changes, the big changes that I had to make.
wow.
Yeah.
I caught all of that. You had to really do some self-reflection.
Absolutely. Because being a mother
Mhm.
has made me a better person. And I had to learn and embrace that I deserve to live from that space of like inspiration and love. That's what
Oh
we all
yeah.
deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this next question is definitely relevant to where we are currently.
Hmm.
Um, as we go more in depth, how has the pandemic challenged your household, and did you enjoy your children learning virtually?
Well, honestly, my children have always been home. We we homeschool. We're unschoolers, and
Okay.
so that didn't affect us. But what it did for us um, was create the opportunity for myself and my family to serve in a big way. As being, veteran unschoolers, we organized and hosted the very first ever Black Unschooling Summit. And it was a
Ooh.
conference. Yeah, it was a conference dedicated just to supporting, Black Indigenous people of color, their families, and helping them in making the transition or advancing in their journey of self-directed education and living. And so the pandemic really created the environment for so many people who were like resistant, to the idea of home education for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. It kind of forced them into a space to be more open to it and embrace it, and start to see the enormous benefits firsthand for themselves, and even for the people who wanted to all along but just could never have the time or the wherewithal to do it before. So it really created a very unique opportunity. And the conference was, I mean, it was, I have to say it, an unprecedented success. We sold out twice. You know,
Wow.
we sold out twice without even paying for any advertising. We sold out
Wow.
twice, and we'll be hosting the next one late this spring or early in the summer. We'll have some dates coming out for that, but it was incredible. and it was a great experience, a great opportunity to serve and take all of our previous challenges of getting through and getting into that space of being home educators and using that experience to support and help others. And it really helped us to create a foundation for our and support for our community. What was challenging though in 2020 was that we had just moved to a new state, and I was pregnant. So being pregnant in 2020 was not the jam.
Lord have mercy. The
I,
peaceful mama had to really find some peace, didn't
you
she?
know, it was not the jam. I mean, all of it, like navigating the healthcare system in 2020 was a nightmare. And then, like I said, because we just moved, we didn't know anyone, so we didn't have access to like our village and our support system. Nobody could come because of COVID, and
Right.
especially after I had the baby, it was that part was stressful, but we made it.
Hmm.
We
Yes.
survived,
Thank
and
you, Jesus.
we're
Thank
thriving.
you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
you know so definitely, but great. I can't say I can't be mad at 2020. It was a challenging year, but it had so many opportunities, and even from the challenges I was able to learn and create new spaces where I'm supporting, because I'm also I hadn't worked in that space for many years, but I'm also a postpartum doula, and it was like having the experience that I normally try to support mothers and not having, and me being in the space
Hmm.
where, so, really feeling what it's like to not have that, support that,
Yeah.
women want after having a baby. And it really brought a lot of new clarity, and empathy to
Mhm.
me. So, hey, no losses,
No losses, all wins. Okay,
exactly.
you definitely have to let us know about this next homeschooling session because Quinn and I, we don't have any children yet, but
Uh-huh.
It's an early
it's
conversation.
an early
Hey,
conversation.
never too early. Never, never too
Yeah.
early.
And I love how you said unschooling.
Hmm.
So, I guess I want to dig a little deeper into that because what did you have to unschool?
Oh, I mean, so unschooling, the simple definition for it would be that it's mainly child led learning, but
Hmm.
it's so much deeper than that, because unschooling basically is like unlearning what we think we know about education, how children learn,
Hmm.
and really, letting go of a lot of the things that we have been ingrained in us by, society, and thinking that if we're not in a school building and if there's not, this structure of the education system to make us learn and make children learn, that somehow they just won't do it. When children are
Hmm.
probably the most prolific learners that exist on the planet.
Yeah.
You create the opportunities and the environment around them in which that they can learn and have what they need. You can't stop them. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, if I go into my experience, I have a group called Unschooling While Black, and I do a lot of our work through that. That's actually the group through which I presented the conference last year. And if you want to dive in there, I do a lot of talks and videos, and just really coaching through that space with a lot of families who are trying to learn more about it. But I could go on and on. There's so many ways in which we've been taught that we have to control and micromanage, or somehow, again, like I said, make children learn, when it's what they were born to do, literally. you know
Literally.
it's what they were born to do, and we don't have to work so hard or create so much stress and angst within our families around it, or even culturally. And that's just on the human scale. When we bring it to the Black experience of unschooling, and we can go even deeper, talking about how our children have a completely different experience in schools than other people's children.
Yes.
We can talk about the school to prison pipeline. We can talk about,
Mm.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
so much in which
that,
being locked into this system has a tremendous impact on our children and on our lives. And so we dig deep and we get into all of that. But it's an onion.
Oh, you right. So many layers, and I love onions. So
Right?
I think you literally pulled it right out of my brain. I was like, should I say school? But that's really what was on my mind. School to prison pipeline.
Yes, absolutely. We woke out here, and I'm just like,
so nobody is asleep.
we're not sleeping.
Or in my ebonics, nobody is sleep,
It's clean.
sleep, sleep, all of that. Okay. But all jokes aside, that is so powerful because
Mm,
we need to have that space. We, as in the
absolutely.
Black people, need to have
Absolutely.
that space to express ourselves, to really, as you said, unlearn the tradition.
Exactly.
Because, like you said, there's so much more to life. And we know of people that their children were, homeschooled and they're excelling.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Look, on the same level and mostly above.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Hmm.
people love to say, "Well, I'm homeschooling, so they're missing out on the social experience." I'm like, real talk. When they grow up, if they
Hmm.
grow up a single child or only
Hmm.
child, they don't have that extra social, but they still can manage
Hmm.
through interaction. And like you said, I mean, I come from pre-K, so with me and you both can have a good time on that one.
Absolutely, girl. We can dig into that.
I,
So yeah, go ahead, Kim.
I just, as we're talking, it's just, this is what makes black culture because we're able to unwind and then jump right back into professionalism at the same time.
Absolutely.
And, we're so, I think the main thing about our culture is we need to be more engaged in relearning some things a lot.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think that's the missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I believe with Peaceful Black Mama and unschooling while Black, I believe that's bringing all that back.
Hey, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. So, that really leads me to talk about how all of your experience have made you more resilient. How would you describe that?
Um, I think definitely it's made me more resilient because I know who I am and what I stand for. And, and in the same way, and I've learned to be a learner. So I'm always gaining more knowledge and experience as I expand and grow into who I am. So, like I said, I have the wherewithal to take life as it comes and extract the lessons and extract the good out of any situation. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of resilience and having a growth mindset. From childhood into adulthood. I mean, I'm okay with all of who I am when it comes to me as a person personally, as a woman, as a mother. I'm okay with, not being, the labeled as the strong, independent, whatever. I'll be sensitive,
There you go.
you know, I'm okay with both needing people and being self-determined. I'm okay
Mm,
with being in love with motherhood and being a wife when society tells us that there's, that shouldn't be enough to fulfill us.
mm-hmm.
That we should be doing so much more, with our lives. But what greater calling is there? We and not to say that other callings aren't great, but I don't think there's one that's greater than the
Right.
call of of motherhood, the call of raising up our families into distinction and excellence. And I don't mean that in some posh way. I mean that just as a human being before God, all of that.
Yes.
So I think that definitely has been a big part of who I am and what's developed my resilience.
Okay. Yes. We just enjoying the conversation. I know we hadn't really dug into this, but how do you feel about sharing, maybe some motherhood tips in general and maybe more about your classes and courses?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, motherhood tips.
Okay, how about this? Top 5 tips.
Top 5 tips.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it all up maybe in one or two. Let me see
Oh,
here.
okay,
You
okay.
know, and I kind of said this already, is that one of the most important things that I have learned as a mother is that we love our children, we love our families, and we do everything that we can for them. But you are not responsible for anybody else's happiness. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and what you're responsible for is your own happiness and your own growth, and then creating a space, inviting everybody else to join you
Okay.
into it, and
Mm-hmm.
so you everyone has to go through their own journey, and that includes your children. And a lot of us as moms, we create our own misery, by trying to micromanage, everybody's life, because yeah, we have our experiences and we have things that we know better technically, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't want our children to experience those negative things that we went through. But that's not your job. you know
Right.
we keep them safe, we feed them and give them all of the good that we possibly can. But at the end of the day, they have to go through their life experiences in their own way. And what your job is, being a model um, for how to navigate life. They learn by
Mm-hmm.
watching you. And so you don't change anything about their experience really by micromanaging them. You
Mm-hmm.
support their experience by being a model for how to live. um, so
Man, that was a whole
that's it.
quote.
Yeah.
That was a whole quote. Go ahead and
Uh-huh.
add that to the apparel. You're the model. You're the model.
Well,
and I guess I can sum it up, and that's one of the things. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, and you read any of what I share, that's it's all about you at the end of the day. And so a lot of what we want to change in our children would actually be better changed in us. So
Mm. Okay,
that's it.
y'all.
I yeah, we really evolve into, as I like to say, new ideology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's a way forward for us. And like I said, it's changing the narrative. You'd be surprised. I'm so proud of our generation and the ones coming up, because we really are, changing the narrative and changing and I'll just go ahead and say it. A lot of the post-traumatic slave mentality that
Yes.
our previous generations have had, and the
Mm-hmm.
way that we raised our children, and we're shifting so much of that, and I couldn't be happier and prouder of what we're doing.
Me too.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So overall, man, we appreciate you sharing your mission of the new Black narrative with us and our listeners. Share with our audience where they can follow and any other final comments that you have, because you got so much powerful impact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. So thepeacefulblackmama.com, that's my main site. Look out for a lot of change there. That's where you can find what I do, and new programs that I'm releasing. And also in the summer, keeping my fingers crossed, I'm working on releasing a book now, and that'll be on the page. Yes. you know, and so that'll update on the page as soon as I have everything up there. But thepeacefulblackmama.com, IG at the Peaceful Black Mama, and on Facebook, Marilyn Odwenyi, Oduenyi, or my page is the Peaceful Black Mama. So wherever you look for me, I'm on Clubhouse too at Peaceful BLK Mama. All right, but
All
All right.
all right, and unschooling while Black. I just launched a Patreon, because unschooling while Black is my labor of love for our community. So we do not do this for profit, but we do take patrons to help us keep the lights on and do the work that we do. So unschooling while Black, Patreon.unschooling while Black, and the Facebook group is also Unschooling While Black. So look for us there, join the community, get all the support that you need, and anything you want to learn about home education and self-direction and all that good stuff will be there for you.
Wow.
Okay.
We have truly gotten experience with the Peaceful Black Mama. y'all. So this has been another great episode of Resilient Love. We thank you, Miss Marilyn, and we're
Thank
signing
you.
out.
Thank you to all listeners and subscribers. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Leave us a 5-star review on Apple so that we can continue sharing resilient love. Thanks for listening.